I'm every ex's favorite ex. Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of You to My App. I'm still Erica Starr, and I have a very calm episode for you today. I have a pack of self-reflection cards from We're Not Really Strangers, and I've only ever opened up this pack I want to say 5 times since I bought it, and I bought it 2-ish years ago. So, yeah, I feel really chill and calm today, and I wasn't even scheduled to record this episode today, but for whatever reason, in the middle of the night, I was like, you know what? This is how I'm feeling right now. This is a period of my life that I want to have on camera. Life's been chaotic. Let me just give myself some peace, unless these cards unleash some kind of chaos. We'll see. So, yeah, I have them all laid out on my desk for those of you who can't see, and they're all, not right side up, but the parts I'm not supposed to see are up. And I'll just be picking them at random until I feel like I filled up enough for an episode or until I feel fulfilled. So we're just gonna get into it. So I'm gonna pick one over here. What's the most exciting improvement I've been seeing in myself recently? The most exciting improvement I've seen in myself is my ability to bounce back. A lot of people say that I have a strong ability to bounce back, but I never believed it because I don't think I've ever fallen apart enough to bounce back. And I think that this year I've had a whole lot of moments where I've hit major setbacks and I got right back up the way that I say that I do, because I love preaching about giving yourself a day to sulk or just, deal with it and keep it moving. But I never felt like I went through anything hard enough, tough enough, difficult, stressful, all those negative words. I never felt that I went through anything that was worth calling a struggle or worth calling, anything negative without sounding privileged. So this year, that's still kind of the case. Or maybe I'm just in a fortunate enough spot and have worked hard enough to get myself here to not feel things as hard as other people do. But what I will say, I've been hit harder this year than previous years. So yeah, I think a big old improvement in myself is my ability to bounce back, because I'll be bouncing. So next question. What's a non-negotiable in my life? Wasting my time. Wasting my time. That is for sure a non-negotiable in my life. Why? Because you only have a finite amount of it. People say you only have one life and it's the longest thing you'll ever experience. But at the same time, it's okay, but it's the one continuous thing that encompasses every good moment in my life. I'm completely ignoring the bad ones because we don't need to focus on those. And you want to waste my time, or anyone wants to waste my time, or anything wants to waste my time? I don't think so. So yeah, big old non-negotiable is to not waste my time, because you can't get that back. And I don't know, I value myself and my time so much that if anyone thinks that they're worth wasting it, you, sir or miss, are entitled as fuck and not worth having in my life. Because why? I've never understood people who can't value other people's time. And this is something I've gone into, several times before on this podcast, but it's so frustrating when other people don't value or don't have the same values. Maybe I should say that. When other people don't have the same values as you. So they can't put any weight or value, it's very interchangeable, any weight or value on the things that you enjoy, the things that you spend your time doing, the things that you prioritize. And so they have no problem taking up your time or wasting your time with the things that they find valuable. And these kinds of people are just, I don't want to be mean because I know a lot of these people, but they're ignorant. I can say that. They're ignorant. And their ignorance is what will pull you away from them. And they never see that. They just think that you're overreacting and that you're being a pain in the ass and that you're being, you're just, you're being bratty, or some people like to go as far as call you privileged. And it's like, no, these are my values. These are the things that I set time aside to do, whether it's going to the gym or getting certain things done in my life that would make me feel happy by the end of the week, or just, even relaxing. It's okay to set aside time to relax. And that's my belief. But other people who don't have that belief and think that your time to relax, or your time at the gym, or your time to snuggle your dog, or your time to hang out with a friend who fills up your cup, is people who think that that's useless will never be considerate of your time and take up as much of it as they can, because all your values mean nothing to them. I hope this was a really long train of thought, and I hope that what is the word? What the heck is the word? A sentence that keeps going. A run-on sentence. There we go. I hope that run-on sentence hit an end. But yeah, I don't know. I can't tolerate people like that. And like I said, it's the ignorance, because we can have different values. I can have different values from you. But I've encountered far too many people who see the things that I enjoy and say, oh, like, that's it? That's all you're doing? Anyways, and then proceed to try to make plans with me on days and times that I'm doing things that I care about. So, yeah, that's that. Big ol' non-negotiable. Friends, family, you name it. It's not hard to be considerate of people's time. Which one of my mistakes taught me the most this past year, and what did it teach me? Which one of my mistakes taught me the most? Mistakes. This one's hard. I don't want to leave you guys hanging on here for too long. But mistakes, I don't know. I feel like my biggest lessons didn't happen this year. My biggest lessons were always people. And I feel like every friend I've lost has been a big lesson. And it's just something that keeps coming up. So I can say that there's like one friend loss that taught me the most, and I can rank them in order of importance and weight that they've had in my life. But I don't think I have any major mistakes this year. Like my whole, like, if I can't remember it, didn't teach me anything. So yeah, my biggest mistakes were people. And all of them as a whole taught me that it taught me how to be a better person. Because even then, I go through friendship breakups, and I can be bitter and stuff, and then I just learn how to give people grace and how to move on and how to do better, be better, and choose better friends. So thanks to my mistakes. Thanks. When have I given too much of myself in a relationship, and what did that look like, and what lesson did that leave with me? Or what lesson did that leave me with? Oy. There was this one time. I mean, there were several times I gave too much in a relationship, but there was this one in particular where he made a lot more money than I did. And when we would go out and do things or whatever, like, I would pay my share for obvious things. Like if we go somewhere and it's like a random like music festival or whatever, like stuff that it was agreed on both ends, like, oh, we want to go here. It's not like he took me somewhere. I was like, oh, now you pay for this or whatever. Like if it was agreed that we wanted to go and it was something that was like the equivalent to going to a movie for him, but for me, it was the equivalent to going like 10 movies at once, you know? New York movies, let me put it that way, because one trip to the movie theater is like $40. So there were a lot of instances where stuff like that came up and expenses came up. And because your girl has a credit card, I would just spend on those things very easily. Or we would hang out a lot and I would go downstairs to grab us whatever snacks and stuff for the night. And then I get a text that's like, oh, can you grab this? And it's like alcohol or something. And alcohol is expensive. And I'd be like, yeah, no problem. And then I don't ask for money back because that's tacky. I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. And yeah, I just kind of trusted that like eventually expenses would weigh out where like he would take me on enough dates and stuff that like whatever I spent, just equals how much he spent on me because I'd be okay with that. And we didn't even make it past 2 months. So imagine like how stressful those 2 months were, how much money was spent in 2 months because for me, money is not a thing. Money comes back, lose some, make some, you're fine. So for a relationship to make me be like, yo, you wasted not only my time, but my money. For me to feel like money was wasted, it has to be a lot of money. Like it has to start impacting me in a way where I'm like, all right, I need to dial back on all the things that I typically spend on. Let me not do my nails this month. And that's crazy, but that's, one of the many things that I had to do. So yeah, the thing that I gave too much in that relationship was too much money. And it wasn't even to him. It was just to put up a front that I wasn't a gold digger, which is crazy because regardless, I wasn't. But he was so hypersensitive to women using him for his money that I went the extra mile to show like, I don't need your money. Which I'm still proud of myself for doing because no man is ever going to think that I need them for money. That's for sure. So, yeah, screw that guy. Anyways, when was the last time I truly enjoyed my own company and what was I doing? Ugh. What does enjoying my own company look like? Let me start there. For me, enjoying my own company feels productive because that's what would give me joy. So whether I'm productive because I clean the house or because I caught up on one of my favorite shows and cooked for myself and sat there watching my show, laughed, and took a nap, like that's productive for me. It's productive because it's moving me forward in my life in a way that I finished that period of time happy. So the last time I would say I truly enjoyed my own company would have to be this whole past week, honestly. I've been using this week to catch up on life because, it was just it's been a chaotic time. It's been a very chaotic time for me. Too many things are stressing me out at once. And I'm working on each thing little by little. So I've enjoyed my own company a lot because my only priority for this past week has just been working on things I need to work on to get me to a place that I need to be. And I've been good at it. I've been successful at it. So I enjoy that. I enjoy being with me when me knows what the fuck she's doing. So, yeah. Next one. What do I have to offer in a romantic relationship and what do I want to receive? I never think about this stuff. Okay. What do I have to offer? I love that. Like when I hear questions like that, my immediate thing is like, come on, it's me, like a little brat. But I think something that I will always be able to offer is just stability. Like when I have someone, I'm not looking anywhere else. And like I'm sure my boyfriend knows that. Like I don't it not only am I not looking anywhere else, I also do not have the time to look anywhere else. And if I do have time to look somewhere else, then I know I'm slacking in my personal life. Like that's how I go about it. Like obviously, being with someone is going to 100% hold me back from wandering eyes and yada yada yada. But at the same time, like not only can I guarantee that I'm loyal, I can also guarantee that I'm being productive as fuck with my free time. And that productivity, let's say it's a long term relationship and we're married and stuff, that productivity is going to get both of us very far because this is a partnership. So, what I have to offer? A good life, baby, because it's nothing but butterflies and rainbows over here. My boyfriend knows that. So, yeah. And then what I want to receive, I just want to feel loved the way that I need to be loved because I have learned through experiences with my boyfriend that my brain is wired so different from other people. And then I see videos, and the videos are talking about people with like ADHD, ADD, autism, the works. And I'm like, wow, that was me. That I understood this so well. And it just puts things in perspective for me of how much of a shit show I am through my boyfriend's eyes. He'll never say that. And he still, even after I told him that, he was like, babe, no, shut up. I love you. But still, if roles were reversed, I'd be like, oh my God, And it's little things like one thing, like in the summer, I hate being touched. If we are outside and it is hot, do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. I get like claustrophobic in my skin. It's the most overwhelming feeling. And I saw this video and it's like it was a skit, but it was like, oh, like, something dating your neurodivergent girlfriend. And the boyfriend touches the girl and she's like, don't touch me. Like I really don't want to be touched. Don't touch me. Like she's like bugging out. And then like, it says like, okay, and then, another instance. And she's like, oh my God, I want to be so close to you that like you're in my skin. And I understood that. I understood it so well, but it's just because there are certain times that I want to be touched and certain times that I don't. And I've realized that, I've said it before, but it proves true every time. To love someone is to know someone. And if you know me enough and not read my mind, we just got to go through experiences and you just got to catch up on, whatever you don't know through experiences with me. And if you care enough to remember those experiences and apply them where necessary, then you love me. And that's what I want. I want you to know how to love me. Okay. What's become more important to me recently than ever before? As of recent, I would say having creative friends. Through this podcast, I've met so many different people, and it's just a different kind of connection when you have friends who are creative, who like doing creative stuff, who like doing just cool artsy things or just talking about artsy things. Yeah, having more creative friends because I love my circle. I love the people who I call friends, who I call best friends, and I love them. But I need more people around who have networks of people who I can befriend and work with and help and who can help me and all that stuff. So, yeah, but I also want these to be true relationships and friendships. Like, I don't want it to be that these are my creative friends. Like, that's not how I want to be. I just want close friends who happen to be creative friends, but I want to build legitimate bonds. Like, I don't want to just have people who we chat on Instagram and it's like, oh, whenever they're doing something, I, hop on the bandwagon. Like I want to know these people and I want these people to know me and I just want that. And I think part of it too, which is interesting, I just recently watched the Pharrell documentary. And, like he went to high school or middle school, I forget, with all these people who blew up. And it's like they all just knew each other. Like they just knew each other in passing. None of them knew that one another would be like the next big thing. And I feel like that's what it's all about. Like I feel like I know a decent number of like just growing creatives in my neighborhood in New York and Brooklyn. And like I feel like people love making connections and stuff with people once they've blown up. And it's like, no, have faith in the people who are at the same level as you. I forget who said it. It might have been Issa Rae, but it's like networking isn't about connecting with people higher up than you. It's about connecting with people at your level because you guys are all willing to help one another because you all know exactly where the other person is at. So yeah, making creative friends and building building really strong friendships with them. What am I wearing when I have the best time, and what do I always regret wearing? Whoa, that was the R's and W's in there. It was crazy. I always regret wearing heels. Okay, not all heels, but you know which ones I'm talking about. The heels that you shouldn't wear, but you wear because they're so cute. And I kind of always regret wearing a cheaply made dress. Some cheaply made dresses, not gonna lie, I've gotten dresses for $10 that have hugged me in all the right places, but it's because my body somehow really matched whatever mannequin they made this thing on. But cheaply made dresses, I think once you get your first true, like, expensive dress, you realize how BS these Fashion Nova dresses are. And I'm not bashing them. I'm just saying that once you wear like a good dress and you realize you never have to adjust your boobs or you never have to blah, 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 adjust the slit on the thigh and you never have to adjust the straps or worrying about your bra showing because it's a nicely made or even your chicho showing. I have a gut. I still have a gut. I'm working on it. But on the same day, I had worn two dresses. One cheaply made. You saw every roll of my body. The other one, you would have thought I had a faja on. It was just a nicely made dress. So yeah, I will always regret wearing a cheaply made dress and heels. And when I'm having the best time, what am I wearing? Usually a sweater like this, like the one I'm wearing right now, just a regular at home floofy sweater, a sports bra, hiking attire, gym clothes, pajamas. That's when I'm having the best time. Or my jeans with the flare at the bottom. I love me them jeans. I love me them jeans. Mm-mm-mm. What or who do I have an unhealthy relationship with? Unhealthy relationship. Okay, I don't want to say I have unhealthy relationships. I'm not going to say with who, but I do have relationships that need to be worked on. And the ways to work on these relationships are through confrontation. And I feel like any relationship I have in my life that needs to be worked on needs years worth of working on and really uncomfortable confrontation. And I think that maybe some tears, you know? And I don't know, it stuff like that is really difficult. Like fixing relationships with people or improving them when they need a big conversation sucks. It sucks. And I would think I would like to say I'm confrontational. I just don't think I have the patience for someone not willing to receive whatever it is I have to say. I think that's the part that makes it hard. Because I'm so willing to tell someone how they hurt my feelings, how their actions impacted my life, or how the way they speak to me makes me feel. I'm so okay with talking about all those things. But if you're going to hit me back with something like, that's just the way I am, or I've always been this way, or why have you not said anything before, you're answering your own question. Like, if I cannot come to you with an issue without you saying it's my fault or blaming me or insulting me, or you see what I'm getting at though? Like, just without any of those kinds of reactions, then it's going to make me step back and never want to do those things and never want to have the confrontation and deal with whatever relationship we have at the moment until whatever I have in mind absolutely has to get brought up. Or if something in their life comes up and it's because of the same issues presented in our relationship, for me to use that as an example and say, listen, I know this is true because I have felt the exact same way. So I'm not naming names, but for the unhealthy relationships, okay, not unhealthy relationships, for the relationships in my life that need improvement, that's what I have to say about it. Damn. Oh, this one's a wild card. We can't do those because that's like an action thing. What did the people who raised me teach me about love? Okay, this is a 3-part question. So let me answer the first one. What did the people who raised me teach me about love? My dad taught me that love is sacrifice and loyalty. That's one thing he taught me. My dad taught me that when it comes to family specifically, you love without question. You care and you act fast for the people you love, who are family. Because the way that he views love in friendships and relationships, and by relationships I mean like petty girlfriends, boyfriends, not wives and husbands, is very different. So that's what he taught me. And what my mom taught me about love is that love, as she's learned down the line, is about giving grace, understanding where people are coming from, and that she loves me more than anything else. Like if there's anything that she's drilled into my brain about love, like outside of whatever lessons about love and just basic, it's that she loves me. So, and my dad has made that very clear too, but he doesn't say it the way my mom does. My mom will make sure once a week to let me know that she loves me more than anything in this world and that no one else loves her more than I do. And my dad, he's more actions. Like he's very much more like, whatever you need, I will do it for you. No questions asked. And like that's it. That's how he shows his love. And he tells me he loves me. I come from a lot of love. But yeah. And what lessons do I want to keep? The lessons from my dad are, I want to keep parts of them because, like I said, his lessons are strictly about family, but I like to extend my love out to my friends. And I know that's not his favorite thing. He's like, friends are not family. I know. But, that's that. And then for my mom, I don't know. I feel like I keep the whole of my mom's teachings, because they're pretty much what I preach on this podcast anyway. Yeah. I mean, I like anything they've taught me about love is never anything bad, and it's never anything I want to forget. Like, it sounds corny, but when it comes to my parents, all they do is love me. Like, I don't know what it's like not to be loved. I don't know what it's like to have issues in relationships because I grew up without it. And I'm grateful for that. And what do I want to challenge? Oh, I just mentioned the one I wanted to challenge. The lesson that my dad said about, family love. But one thing's for sure is I love them both, even though they're so different. Okay, who do I envy and why do I envy them? Who do I envy and why do I envy them? I mean, I don't want to say everyone envies, but there's got to be some kind of person who has something that I want. I mean, if we want to be really surface level, I envy people who have like amazing genetics when it comes to, waist to hip to ass ratio. Envy is certainly there. The people who only need to do Pilates to keep their shape and don't need to lift a single weight because they're just built like that. Yeah. As for like personality, character, physical things, I don't think I envy anyone. I'll never envy anyone for having more like real like things like, for having more physical things. I'll never envy anyone for that because if I wanted to, I could. And personality wise, I'm always growing. I'm always evolving. I can't hate on anyone. I could be a different person tomorrow. So, yeah. Next question. I'm sorry, guys. I keep burping and oh my gosh, it's bothering me so much. In what ways do I want to be like the people that raised me, and what's important for me to avoid repeating? Damn, my parents are really getting hit with this episode. Okay, in what ways do I want to be like them? Something that they both have that I want to take parts of from both of them are their storytelling skills, and I'm pretty sure I already have them. Because my dad is someone who fills his stories with facial expressions, sound effects, and just so much silliness. And my mom is the type who tells stories with a lot of context. So much context and shock value and hand gestures. So yeah, that's one way I want to be like them. I want to be like my mom in the way that she's got how do I say it? Well, it's the thing she's always taught me since I was younger, like to be assertive. That's one thing. Like she is assertive in that she knows what she wants. She knows how to ask for it. She's not afraid to ask for it. And even if she inside is shitting bricks, you won't be able to tell. Especially if it's for her kids or something she really cares about. So, yeah. And as for my dad, for him, it's the fact that he really doesn't give a shit about what anyone thinks. I want to have that to the capacity that he does because I know I don't have I don't have a care in my body for what people think of me as a person, but like he really doesn't. And I want to get to that level because there's not a care in his mind of what people think about him. So yeah, I like that. And there's so many ways I want to be like them. It's just hard to think of because in so many ways I'm already like them. Like the things that I'm probably talking about, I have already mastered at least 50%. So I'm trying to think something. Oh, I want to have my mom's communication skills, her written communication skills, because she knows how to tell people off in like the nicest way that if you're stupid, you can't even tell that she told you off. And what's important for me to avoid repeating? Oh my gosh, both of my parents have traits that I don't want to repeat, but that I know that I do. My dad's stubborn. I know I'm stubborn, but I'm not as stubborn as him. And that could be me being stubborn right now. But I don't want to be that. I don't want to repeat any mistakes my mom made when she was younger, whether it was like being handsy or being just, putting herself in situations that she shouldn't have been in. Not that I don't know. it feels like some were a little bit more her fault than others. So I wouldn't want to repeat that. Um, I'm trying to think what else I don't want to repeat. I don't want to repeat anything that separated my parents, because the reason my parents aren't together is because their very not so great sides came to light, and I feel like they brought out the worst in each other when I daddy, I love you, Shishu, I love you. But that's from the stories I've heard from you both. I don't want to repeat anything that was brought to light when you guys were at the worst parts of your relationship, because I feel like whatever those things were are still like the worst parts of you. Like, yeah. I don't need to say more. I don't need to blow you guys up. Once again, I love you guys. Okay. Next card says, I want to thank myself for blank. I want to thank myself for keeping up the reputation that I have with everyone. Because as much as I say online, with as much BS as I've gotten into in high school, with as much, like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I've run into so many situations where I realize what people think of me and the type of person that people think that I am. And I'm like, wow. So even with everything I've ever said, every picture I've ever posted, every place I've ever gone, everything I've ever done, people still have this perception of me. So I thank myself for knowing where the lines are and knowing how to read a room and knowing how to navigate this very cancelable world we live in. Because, yeah, that's such a pain. And I'm just going to say something to that. I really don't like that people online specifically are forced to remain in this like gray area when it comes to their opinion. And I don't want to talk about like politics. I don't want to talk about like any other stuff that are like very obviously polarizing on the internet. But I'm saying like people are really scared to have polarizing views on things because they're scared of getting canceled. And I'm just like, guys, like, what is up with what is up with us? Because I'm talking to Gen Z. I hate that I'm a part of it, but it's like no one can be interesting. Everyone, when they speak, has to account for whoever it is they might be offending. Why? Like, let people have opinions. And if you have questions about their opinions, you ask them and let them elaborate. But everyone speaks so safe. Everyone is so used to being watched. And you can tell when people are performing, and it's really annoying. It is so annoying, and nothing feels real anymore. And yeah, I feel like that's why I speak the way that I speak, and I try to keep my voice as honest to who I am as possible. I am a New Yorker who grew up here in Brooklyn my whole life, and I have opinions based on where I grew up, the neighborhoods I grew up in, the type of people I grew up around. Like, I'm sticking to them, and I'm not gonna act like I'm anything else, and I'm not gonna shield my audience from who I am. So I just don't like that too many people do that, and they keep trying to play it safe. Like, it's okay to cross lines sometimes, but that's just me. What's my most toxic trait I can admit to, and where do I think it stems from? The most toxic trait is that I'm stubborn. I think that's it. Is that I'm stubborn and I've got pride. And sometimes my pride comes out at very inconvenient times. And sometimes it's very childish, like where the pride is coming from or what the pride is trying to defend. So I think that's my most toxic trait. I think anytime I have pissed off someone close to me, it has been because of my pride. So yeah, and where do I think it stems from? I come from two prideful ass parents. Like, they've both grown in their own weird ways, but both started very prideful, very, very prideful. So I think it's a learned trait, and I'm trying to unlearn it. And it's a really hard one because that shit's in my DNA and I witnessed a lot of it. So it's not only nature, but it's also nurture. So, um, still working on that one. Still working on that one. Get back to me next year. What expectation have I set on someone that has been hurting me the most? What expect? I don't set expectations on people. Well, actually, I did. Like, the friends I've lost is because I set expectations on them. So the one that has been hurting me the most is one friend that I lost recently, only because, and I brought this up to some of my friends recently too. The one that's hurt me the most is the friend who I can still look back fondly on. And most of them I can, but this one the most. Like, this is one of my friends I've talked about on the podcast before. You could do the math if you want to and see who I'm talking about. But he and I had a falling out over such a foolish reason. And I still find myself like talking about memories to other people. And he's like a big chunk of the memory, or the memory is about like a joke that he told or a moment that we had, yada, yada, yada. And no part of me is even thinking about all the negative things I can possibly be thinking about when his name comes up. Like, I'm literally voluntarily bringing up his name, telling a funny story, laughing, reminiscing and stuff, and then going on with my day. There's literally no negative feeling in my heart, in my brain, anything. And I think that is why it hurts. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It hurts because I can still feel good. It's the weirdest thing. Um, but yeah, I feel like any pain that I have anywhere in my heart is all long term. I have nothing fresh, no fresh pain, all really old wounds. When do I feel most productive? What time is it usually? And am I alone or with others? All right. First off, I'm always alone when I'm my most productive. What time is it usually? It could be any time of the day. I could get a burst of energy to do everything I need to get done at 12 p.m. or I can at 2 in the morning. That is not up to me. I'm doing this podcast at midnight. I should be sleeping. I have Pilates tomorrow morning. Anyways, and when do I feel the most productive? I feel the most productive when I have time to relax. And I know that sounds like dumb, but when I have time to decide when I'm going to do something productive, like, I am not as productive when I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this at these times on this day. I'm most productive when I just have a whole day where nothing else needs to get done, like nothing urgent, like the gym or, my job or anything, like nothing that has a distinct time to do. And I just wake up and I just flow throughout my day, and then boom, I'm just busting stuff out. Like, that's when I feel the most productive. And I think some people say that's like when you're working within like your feminine energy and stuff, because you're just literally going with the flow. But living in New York and stuff, I don't have the freedom of going with the flow. I gotta find the flow. And if I miss it, oh my God. You know? Like, what have my past relationships taught me about myself, good and bad? My past relationships have taught me that I don't know who I am. I feel like that was the biggest thing. It taught me that I had no idea who I was because I tolerated everything for the sake of being in a relationship. And that's foolish. Like, all I knew about myself was that I was a girl that wanted to be in a relationship, and that's not enough. So, yeah, that's a bad thing about myself that it taught me. And a good thing is that I know how to care for people. Like, I've, not to sound cocky, but I've gotten good reviews on every ex I've ever had. They all, I say this all the time, I'm every ex's favorite ex. And it's because I'm just a good person. It's taught me that I'm a good person. I know how to care for people. And that should teach you that no matter how good you are to someone, stuff can still go left. And yeah, I don't know. Some of you guys need that little wake up call. And I think that this is going to be my last question. What do I dislike that most people love, and what do I love that most people dislike? Something I love that most people dislike is country music. And I will always get heat for this. I don't understand why, but Puerto Ricans love country music. I don't know who told you guys that we don't listen to country music. I have run into so many Puerto Ricans who like country music. And I think it's just because of the storytelling. Because when you listen to Spanish music, like, there's some dramatic ass stories in Spanish music. And yeah, I feel like country, not relating it to Spanish music by any means when it comes to like rhythm and dances and stuff. I'm just saying, like, there's something relatable about it. And country music is very honest, and I like that. And country music deserves a second chance. And I was once someone who did too. So we like country music. And what do I dislike that most people love? Something I dislike that most people love. I don't like ranch. I don't like I'm not gonna say I don't like, but I'm not the biggest fan of Beyonce. Um I'm trying to think of something I like truly completely dislike. I don't like when my lights turn off. I think it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I know that this was a much slower pace episode, but I honestly needed it. And I felt like I got some things off my chest with this one. So I might just do another episode like this because I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though I sounded dead through most of it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Please give me 5 stars. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next week with far more energy. I love you guys. Bye.